just me and Enedina today. Everybody else was a little on the fat side. Actually, a lot of them were a lot on the fat side. Being inside the warm house for the last, I don't know, 2 weeks, 10 days. Ooh, squirrel poop. Yeah, everybody's kind of porky. But, it's hard to have a bunch of birds. Yeah. At weight. Ooh, there's brand new jack poop. So, anyway, yeah, I didn't get very far from the car. I'm in a different spot that has no canyons. I mean, it does, but they're far away. And so, basically, she hasn't been out since the day after Christmas because we've had a string of shitty weather. And as you can see, it still doesn't look all that better. But, I wanted to get her out. And we got an alert. It said it's going to rain in about an hour and a half. So that kind of made me nervous because if shit goes sideways, I damn sure don't want to be out here in the cold rain with her, or her to be out in the cold rain. Done that before with Coral in Massachusetts when something spooked her and she wouldn't come down off of a church roof, which that was interesting. Church in Boston. Anyway, so she was doing well, kind of, she was really sticking around. She wasn't doing her wandering. So I think her killing that rabbit really kind of dialed her in and the penny dropped that, hey, need to kind of stick close with mom and, stuff appears. There's a lot of poop out here. Didn't see anything, but we didn't give it much time. Also, I think the little raven episode kind of upset her, or, she remembers it. I'm going to do this because the wind's going up her tail. Because, she would see the ravens just outside the window at the house, and she would start crying. So, anyway, so maybe she wanted to stick by, just because, well, lo and behold, I'm out here, don't see a single raven. Very rarely do I ever see ravens out here, and if I do, there's not very many, and it's, not a lot. And, now this one comes up out of the blue, comes up behind me, and goes over me and starts going, just beelining it for her. And before the other day, I would have just let her sort it out, but I was afraid that after being traumatized by being bullied by 10 to 15, and then, being chased off quite far, not being able to find me, I didn't know how she would handle that. So, at the end of the day, she's still a new bird. She's a baby. She's not even 9 months old yet. So, I just wasn't going to risk it. It wasn't worth it to me. Clearly, we weren't really bumping a whole lot, but, we were only out here for like maybe, 25 minutes. And she got some good exercise. She's got stuff all over her face. Her beak is a little long. So I've been giving them, especially hers, but just so everybody else's beak doesn't get a little out of control. But I don't want to have to grab this bird right now. Because I don't know how she's going to handle that. I've never grabbed this bird and casted her. So I just, this stage in her training, I just don't want to do that. So I'm going to try to milk it to the end of the season, which we got about 2 more months before we got to hang it up for the season. And she's got one tail feather that's broken that I need to amp. I tried to do it, but she won't sit still, and without any help. Having somebody hold her or whatever, even hooded with her on the perch, she just spins. She says, this bird does not like to be touched at all. She's getting better. Actually, she was really good today, having her transmitters put on. But yeah, she just doesn't like being touched, and even touching her feet to put her equipment on, she doesn't like. So just to even clean up the feather, trim it off, and she just kept spinning and spinning and spinning, and I didn't want to upset her. So yeah, she's not real good at standby. We're on the ground now. She doesn't like to eat on the fist, which is fine. I personally don't like to feed her on the fist because she does, she has started showing some aggression, but at the same time, I also don't want her to eat on the ground because of the avian flu. I mean, the likelihood of an infected bird pooping right here is slim, but I don't want to take that chance. Never mind the fact that I don't like her to eat on the ground because of parasites and stuff, and she's trashing her feathers. So she's got primaries that are tipped. She broke that one feather, a couple weeks ago, crashing into a brush after, I think, a squirrel. One of our little ground squirrels, which look like a chipmunk, but they're actually squirrels. And then she's got another tail feather that's tipped. So, yeah, by the end of the season, she's going to need a good molt. There's that raven, asshole. He's hauling ass somewhere else to go bother somebody. I don't know what he's doing. So I guess that's just going to be the new norm. It's, the beginning of January. They're already starting to pair up and court. I've seen that for probably the last month. So, and then probably right about now to maybe another 3 weeks, the eagles will start pairing up, and then they'll start laying around Valentine's Day. That's golden eagles. So yeah, we're going to start seeing a lot of this territorial stuff. So hopefully she'll be okay. I need to imp that tail feather. I don't know if that's really having any impact on her flying. She seems like she's working harder than she was, but she's also been off for 10 days. So I think she's lost some fitness. Okay, we done? Are we done? Can we go? She's like, I don't know. That was your pickup piece, so I don't have any more food for you. Yeah? You don't want this? You want this? There you go. It's got dirt all over it. Ugh, God, I really don't want her eating it with dirt, but she just doesn't like eating on the fist, which, whatever. I just don't like her eating this dirt. I know they do it in the wild, but that's also why they don't live as long in the wild. And I kind of would like her to live a little bit longer. So, are we ready? Can we go now? Can we go? Come on. Come on, up the daisies. I don't want her to think I'm stealing this. So, she's, goes, good girl. She's, watching the bone. I'm going to just leave it there for somebody else to eat. Although it's good for her beak. She does have a crack in her beak now, probably because, it's Arizona. We're really super dry. And that tip is a little bit long. It's not as long as it was because I've been putting coconut oil on it and then giving her really bony stuff like her rabbit head that she caught. And then Leroy had, he caught a rabbit. And then I got him some other bony stuff. So hopefully it's down a little bit, but it's still a little long. That notch needs to go up. And that tip needs to recede, but she chews on her equipment, so that's probably where that crack came from. Anyway, so that was took me longer to drive out here and get ready than it was to actually fly her. I wanted to fly her as long as possible, get some of that energy. She actually did pretty good. I thought she was going to be bouncy and impatient with the 10 days off, but she actually did pretty good. I think she's kind of settling into a routine, and oh my goodness, when I first got her, all the way until, I don't know, flying her for the first month or two, she was just bouncy. If I didn't fly her every day, she was just a nightmare. But I think she's just kind of coming into her own and growing up a little bit, and she's very hyper focused on me, which makes sense, I'm food, but it's also what I want. I want her to always wonder where I am and want to hang out and see where I am. So she stuck very close. I mean, she did, she would go off and try to find a thermal, which today you're not going to find one. It's very cold and damp and dense, so she's not going to find one. But yeah, she did good. She stuck around, and I don't know if it was just a coincidence, but when that raven came barreling in, she was already U-turning and making her way towards me. So I don't know if that was just a coincidence, or she's like, oh no, we don't. I know when mom's around, they go away. So, and then also, I mean, within seconds, I called the lure out. I, pulled the lure out because I was not gonna even risk it. I feel kind of silly for putting on sunscreen this morning. Anyway, so on our, for news development, on our way out here, we stopped by the Sedona Humane Society because I follow them on Facebook. And there's been a little dog that needed a foster because she's extremely pregnant and needs to have a safe, clean, quiet place to have her puppies until, her and her puppies can be ready to go up for adoption. And I've been saying that, she needs a dog. I'm having a hard time justifying buying a dog, although, I don't have anything against responsible breeders. I don't. And I don't know. If I could find one that, will be suitable, but also happens to need a good home, I feel that's a double win. But I've also been reluctant to adopt one because you don't know their history. You don't know what trauma they've been through. You don't know their backstory. And there's just too much at stake if I get it wrong. So this little dog, she looks like a cattle dog, mix, whatever. She's small, very short, kind of stocky. And she's extraordinarily pregnant, very pregnant. I mean, I was uncomfortable, and I'm not the one that's pregnant, thank God. But she's due in about a week or two. Apparently, there's about 8 to 13 puppies in there. So I thought, well, maybe I could, and they put out a thing that, they're in desperate need for a foster for her. And they've done a shout out before, and nobody stepped up for this little girl. And I don't know why I felt compelled to do that for this dog, because usually, I see these posts and think, oh, poor dog, or oh, poor cat, or, hope they get a home, whatever, and I scroll on. But this one, she seemed to, I don't know, kind of stuck. But, so, we're going to foster her, and I figure if I foster her, it's not a full-time actual adoption commitment. So if things don't work out, and then, maybe one of the puppies might work out. We have no idea who the dad is or what kind of, dog he was or is, because she was brought in as a stray. And I thought, hey, leave that alone. Little puppies, they're not very, intimidating. At this point, they might actually be mistaken for prey. So it might be a good way to slowly introduce dogs to her and the other. Cora will never accept dogs, period. I know that. Leroy might, because he flew over a dog, a beagle. What are you looking at? What is it? Are these mosquitoes? He flew over a beagle, for the first 5 years of his life. And then he's been around dogs. He just takes a little time to warm up to them. But it'd be nice if I could even fly him over a dog. But she needs a dog, especially if I'm going to do Jax. And the way she her hunting or killing style is, fly by smack instead of, fly in, stoop, and pounce and crash. She's going to need a dog to keep the rabbits moving. And I just probably would make it easier. I'm sure my numbers would be higher than they are. Just, you know, like with other falconers, I never get those numbers because I don't fly with dogs. I fly by myself. You know, so it's just me and the bird, and I don't urban hawk. I don't go into neighborhoods or anything like that, so my numbers are not as high, which I'm okay with. Numbers don't mean anything to me, although of course obviously you want as much success as possible, but not at the expense of your bird's well-being or safety. So anyway, that is her news. I said that she was going to get a Christmas dog, so we're close. We'll see how it works out. So the puppies are supposed to be born in the next week or two, and then I think they wean them out, or, you know, start putting them up for adoption about 2.5, 3 months old. So they'll be, you know, 3.5, 4 months from now. We'll just see what happens. And then, you know, of course, by then the falconry season will be over, and they can just kind of hang out for the summer. And, you know, if one of the puppies works out, if not, they'll all go back, and at least they had a safe place to be born, and she had a safe place to give birth, and they'll all get loving homes. And at least I'm not committed to an actual adoption, and I'll know how to go from there. So anyway, that's our day, January 4th, 2023.